sense out there that individual votes don't matter. And I think the importance of this event and the reason why I'm here and we're here is to really highlight how your vote matters and why your vote matters, and to give you the information that you need to feel empowered to act on that information, right? To show up and to vote. I think voting is like a muscle and we have to exercise it regularly. I am Amy Widestrom. I'm the executive director for the League of Women Voters of Pennsylvania. I come to this work from academia, so I'm a political scientist by training, and I'm really excited to be doing the work of democracy with the League. So the League of Women Voters of Pennsylvania is actually embedded in a network of leagues across the country. So we have a national organization in Washington, D.C. We have 50 leagues across the states in the United States. And then below the state leagues, we have local chapters. So we do voter registration, voter education, and we protect access to the ballot and expand access to the ballot. We are a nonpartisan organization, so we don't work with any party or candidate. General sense out there that individual votes don't matter. And I think the importance of this event and the reason why I'm here and we're here is to really highlight how your vote matters and why your vote matters, and to give you the information that you need to feel empowered to act on that information, right? To show up and to vote. I think voting is like a muscle and we have to exercise it regularly. We tend to really get hyper-focused on presidential elections. And so if this is a way to get people involved and in the door and civically active, then I want to do that for as many people as possible. Things that people really struggle with is, especially around presidential elections, is that there are these electors in the Electoral College and my individual vote doesn't matter. And the thing to know is that in the Commonwealth, the electors vote based on who wins the popular vote, right? So even though it's not the popular vote across the country that picks the election, it is within the states. If you want a particular candidate to win, you've got to vote to tell the electors how you want them to vote. They're gonna pick based on our votes. And so if you're not voting, then you don't have a say in how those electors are gonna choose. And so it's really important to vote at the presidential level for that reason. It's also really important to remember that there are a whole bunch of other races on that ballot, right? And we call that down ballot voting. And it's really important to vote down ballot because those races can be decided by, 100 votes in some cases. There's a vote in Luzerne County in the primary election that's down to 3 votes. And so on the down ballot races, our individual vote really, really matters. Electoral college is confusing, and that's why organizations like the League actually are really pushing to move to one person, one vote and to abolish the Electoral College. We know that young voters are not particularly trusting of elected officials. So trust is very low. Cynicism is pretty high in my experience. So there's some difficulty trusting elected officials and really feeling compelled to vote. On the other hand, I find that young folks are really passionate about particular issues, right? So we really see a lot of concern about student loans and funding for higher education, about climate change. Some foreign policy issues have emerged as really important to our young folks. Could be sort of sad about the state of civic engagement or civic trust among this population. I think there's a lot of potential, right? And I think that there's a lot of ways that young voters could plug in to organizations that bring them together as young voters to really work on issues that matter to them. And they are our largest generations, right? So I also like to remind young voters that there are more of you than there are of us. And so if we just get them together and connect to organizations, whether it's through nonpartisan organizations like the League, or whether it's just grouping together and choosing to support a candidate or an issue, I think that there's a lot of potential among our young voters. Civic education across the country is abysmal. Some data shows that only 25% of 8th graders enter high school with any sort of proficiency in civics. And then our high school curriculum is not much better in advancing that. So it is the case that our civic education in this country has sort of fallen by the wayside as we've really sort of invested in STEM education, I think. Why would I bother to vote if I can't trust them to do anything? Right. And so then when I have to tell them, but if more of you are voting, then you vote the bums out that you don't like, right? At the age of 25, you can run for Congress. You can be younger than that and run for your local offices. And so run for office if you don't like what's happening. I think that we have a great set of panelists, and our mission is really to not tell people what to think, but to help people learn to think for themselves, right? Well, how can I be literate when I'm reading the news and watching the news? Panelists are trusted sources that can provide really good information and point folks in the right direction. And our goal is just to, get people out there to register to vote and to go vote. And that's really the most important thing. And so, so anything, that we can do or say, or questions we can answer, right? That's what we're here to do. So I would also say bring questions and let us answer them for you as sort of nonpartisan trusted sources of information.